Hi again, everybody. Here's a fun and interesting little game that was played in Rio de Janeiro in 1933. Borges has the white pieces and Roca the black, and it's a Caro Kann. And it starts out d4, d5, knight c3, c6, e4, black takes off the e-pawn, white recaptures it, and now black hits at the knight with bishop f5, and now white turns the table and hits at the bishop with knight g3, and black retreats the bishop back to g6. Now white plays h4, threatening to trap the bishop, so black plays h6. Now white brings out his other knight to f3. Black brings out the knight to d7. White brings out the bishop to c4. Black plays e6. White brings up the queen to e2. Now black brings out his bishop to d6. White goes ahead and castles. Now black brings out the knight on g8 to f6, and white plays his knight up to e5. And black decides he would like to save his light-squared bishop, so he retreats it to h7. And believe it or not, at this point, white plays his next move, and black resigns. And if you'd like to pause the video and see why, I'll wait for you. White sacrifices the knight at f7, simultaneously attacking the queen, the rook, and the bishop. And if black should take the knight, then white comes in with queen takes e6, check. And if the king should retreat back to f8, then obviously queen to f7 is checkmate. But if instead black decides to move the king to g6, white now has his choice as to how he would like to checkmate the king. And if you'd like to pause the video again, can you see how many different ways white can do it? Well, believe it or not, white has 4 different moves that give checkmate. He can play the queen to f7, checkmate, or he can play the queen to f5, checkmate, or he can play the bishop to d3, checkmate, and finally he can just play the pawn to h5, checkmate. Which one would you choose? To be honest, I think I'd go with the pawn. How often do you get to checkmate with a pawn? Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll see you next time.